we consider this question as a little more difficult, not very easy. I wouldn't say very difficult either.
Yes.
Type of question, because there should be an analysis. What is a TPS? A student should be able to identify what a TPS does, and also what a MIS does, and also analyze the answer and select the correct one. And the resources available for the students to sort of answer this question is available in either the reference books or the student manual or e-learning material. So if they carefully go through the material and analyze what is being said in the question, I'm sure they can answer quite easily.
Not very difficult.
Yes.
It will be a moderate question.
Yes.
But you need some sort of a comparison with the transaction processing and management information, MIS and TPS. So let's move to the next question. The answer is now, it's obvious, is the answers are the choice B and E are the incorrect statements. So since we have discussed, we will move into the next question. And the example 2 comes from the the system investigation and analysis, that is topic 7.
7, that's right. Yes.
And the question looks like it's a very small, brief question. Which of the following are not phases in the traditional system development life cycle of system development? So should be, the question is asking what is the phase comes under the system development life cycle.
That's right. It's a very straightforward question. In a system development life cycle, in the traditional cycle, there are different stages that you would follow. So here, if you look at it, like usually it will be first system investigation, and also then finally, secondly, you will look at analysis and design, implementation, maintenance and review. So if you look at the answers carefully, system investigation is there, system testing is done in the implementation part, and also system documentation, that is not included. Although at each stage we have documentation prepared, it is not actually considered as a phase. And also system analysis and system design, that is correct. So if you look at the
so what I have to, the question is very simple. The system documentation is not an answer, it's not a phase, but it looks like a phase, so it's a tricky question, so you have to be very careful. Everything, system investigation, analysis and designs are the phases, but including the testing, but documentation is not the case. So it's a simple question, and the answer can be found directly from any of the resources, learning materials, manual and the textbooks.
Right.
And then we move into the answer is C, system documentation, and we move into the third example, which is about the the question is determining the needed hardware and software for a new system is an example of.
Yes. Now here there are a logical design. So what a logical design is, it gives a description of functional requirements needed for a system. So it will talk about what the inputs going to be, what the outputs are going to be, what the process is going to be. So different features that will be included in a system, and also data flow diagrams, entity relationship diagrams are being used to basically describe what these activities are required in a system. Then secondly, we look at the interface design and interface design. So in an interface design, we focus on how to design perhaps a very interactive interface with the user. So what are the sign-on procedures going to be, or else is it going to be a menu driven system? What are the security concerns we are going to look at? So that will be looked at in interface design.
How the people will use the system, so
yes,
those requirements should be identified, and sometimes people use these prototype mechanisms to design the interface for the system, so that will comes under that part.
Yeah. Now, life cycle design, that term is not sort of a
Example.
term.
It is not an example. It
Yes.
looks like a kind of it's
There's
what
no
we say
term,
determine
right?
need hardware and software for a new system is an example. It's not an example at all.
Yeah.
It looks like, but not.
Uh,
Conceptual design, the third one is also similar one. It's another example. I feel it,
Yes.
yeah.
But if you look at the physical design, that is actually the correct answer, because in the physical design you have to mention really the performance characteristics of hardware. So what is the hardware we are going to use for input activity, for output activity, for processing. We will look at those things, and also mention about the software, what capabilities are needed in the software.
So the learning objectives here are identify the differences between the logical and physical, and the question is again is not so difficult, but you need to have a very good understanding as to whether the student have understood clearly activities carried out in the system, and using those reference material and the learning material will provide the background for this knowledge, and the student will be able to answer it very easily. So these are the three questions we planned to discuss in this program, and I hope that you can try all the practice questions in the LMS. You can also verify whether they are correct or wrong, and then I hope you can then attempt the assignment, and again that will helpful you to do the final exams. So thank you very much for watching this program, and we hope to meet you in a similar program in the future.